Hey everyone, welcome back to your week ahead astrology breakdown. Another week of me wearing pink and Versace. Are we surprised? No, we are not. I trust that as we progress into 2024 and moving right along in Capricorn season, that things are moving smoothly, motivation is growing, and that you're putting in the work to call in the dreams. And with that being said, last week I promised some offerings and announcements. So here they are. Number one, for any new client that signs on for one-on-one coaching and mentorship with yours truly, they are going to receive 30 days of unlimited access to me via voice notes, text messaging, emails in between our regular coaching calls, which is pretty remarkable. This normally costs a few coins in the past. But why I'm doing this is because I know January and February, I'm going all in on Stillwater and creating a lot of offerings, a lot of services, because there's going to be a lot of change in my personal life come the spring this year, which more will be revealed later. But with that being said, I want to be available. I want to be here for anyone else who wants to do the work, just because I personally know how much my life has changed by having a mentor, by having a coach, by having the best in my corner every step of the way. And I know that it can be daunting. I know that it can be challenging. We all face stressors and things in our life that can deter us from aligning to that new frequency, aligning to that goal, and staying consistent. So by having that unlimited support literally in your hand, in your back pocket, whenever you need it, is a game changer. So if you're wanting to make that commitment, if you're wanting to learn more about that offering, you can reach out to me via email at stillwateralchemy@gmail.com. Number two, the 2024 astrology guide is also now available. I put a lot of love into this because I know how powerful having this knowledge, being able to speak this language can be. And not only that, it's not just about increasing your knowledge, it also helps you to sharpen your intuition. Because if you know intuitively that something big is about to happen, then you look at the guide, you hear these transits, you're like, oh yeah, like Mars is making a trine to Jupiter. I knew that I wanted to expand. I knew I wanted to do this. You're becoming more reliant on your own natural abilities to discern the cosmos by acquiring more knowledge. It would be like you learning French, learning it every year, so that when you go on that trip, you don't need a translator. You don't need to look everything up. You know that you can just speak the language and move through the city with ease whenever you travel to France or anywhere where they speak French. Same thing here. You're learning literally the language of the gods. Venus, Aphrodite, Jupiter, Zeus, Mars, Aries. You're able to distill that language. So that guide is on sale until January 15th to give those who are very dutiful to Saturn and are wanting to do the work a little bit of a discount. So you can find that on Stillwater Alchemy's website. And the final announcement is that the one question readings are now back up as well. So if you just have one question that you want some clarity around, you can feel free to go there, secure a reading, and I'll get back to you within 3 to 5 business days after I receive the questionnaire back from you. But remember, if you have multiple questions, then perhaps looking into one-on-one coaching and mentorship where you can ask all the questions would be a wise investment as well. So moving along to the greatest victory of the week, we have from Sarah. Hey, Sarah. My greatest victory of the week was taking time to myself and choosing who I share my energy with. I met up with some longtime friends, and after sharing my career goals with this person for the first time, was reassured that my business is and will be successful. I left that day feeling supported beyond my wildest dreams. That is what we are here for. Also, if we break that down, we hear discernment. And we hear that we are taking time to share our intimate feelings, our goals, our desires with the right people. And this was something that I heard a lot of this past week. I was doing all of the Sagittarius season giveaway readings that were drawn from the giveaway. And also just from clients that I was coaching, something that came up over and over and over again is when they went home for the holidays or when they were spending time with certain family and friends they hadn't seen for a while, there was this gap that some of them could feel between the work that they have done physically, mentally, socially, spiritually, and maybe feeling a disconnect or like their values weren't aligned with certain people from back home or in their lives in general. And then some just felt a little bit lonely or isolated. They're like, who can I connect with? I want to be able to share this wisdom or share the happiness or what's going well in my life with the right people. And I will say, just from my own personal experience for working with a lot of clients, that there are going to be points in your spiritual journey where you are going to have to be alone physically to move through that dark night of the soul, through certain obstacles. That's just how this work works for you to know that you can do it on your own. Not always, but there'll be moments, even just in those moments where you make the decision to become better. Normally, that's happening in a very closed, ritualistic space where you are connecting in with yourself, with your higher self. But then when you get to the other side of that, and we have an example like this where you're connecting with the right people, you feel seen, you are heard, you are supported. That is physical proof that everything that you're doing of calling people higher, calling yourself higher, and staying there is when you just feel all the good things, when you know that you're so supported, when you know that these are the people, these are the resources, these are the energies that I want to build with moving forward. Hello, Capricorn season, right? So congrats, Sarah. And also for all of us, it would be a good opportunity to go through the relationships, to go through the energy sources that we're giving our time to. Remember, time is closely linked to Saturn. Saturn is a ruling planet of Capricorn, so that we know who and what we're giving our time to best support us moving forward. My greatest victory, I would probably say, is the 2024 astrology guide. I sometimes forget how much I enjoy writing and just being in that space. I'll make like a cute tea or a coffee and I'll just sit down and type. And I did this a lot in high school when we had like creative assessments and I took a creative writing course in high school. And I sometimes forget that I sometimes resonate with the archetype of Carrie Bradshaw and living out that Carrie Bradshaw fantasy of being a writer. So it's not even just Mercury. I think for all the writers out there or people that write a lot, it's also Venus with the aesthetics and the style and even like the wit, Venus and Mercury together. Then there's the Mars of how fast you can go or how much you can get done in a certain amount of time. Jupiter for the expansion, Saturn for the discernment, Uranus for the innovation, brand new, bold, no, like novel ideas, Pluto for power. Like it's all there, like in most things, and like all of these planets can color our experiences and help support us. So that was a really great experience. And I think, again, for any writer or creative, when you finish a product and you're proud of that product, it's like you just gave birth. It's like you're doing so much work back and forth, especially during a Mercury retrograde, which was also a special experience writing that. But I'm very happy with all the energy and how everything worked out. So please let me know, for those who purchase the 2024 Astro Guide, what you think. I would love to hear how it blesses you, what is coming to you over the coming weeks and months. All right. So with that being said, let's hop into the transit, shall we? Two things I want to start off with are two prominent transits, which I also broke down in the newsletter, the email newsletter that I send out through Stillwater Alchemy. But to recap with that, we have the Mercury square Neptune and Mars trine Jupiter. Both of these really speak to dreams, goals, and expansion. The one thing I will say with Mercury square Neptune is this can be a little bit challenging and a little bit confusing in the sense of sometimes it feels like we're so close yet so far. If your mind isn't in the right place, it can feel like, why isn't this working? This feels very confusing. I feel like I keep looping in the same fashion, the same way. And that's where we go from water and fire, right? Sag being fire, Pisces being water, to then the earthly energy that we have from Mars, exalted in Capricorn, making a trine to Jupiter. So where do you physically need to ground in? Where are your emotions or all of this passion getting in the way of what just needs to be done on an earthly realm with the hours of time spent? with the nutrition that you have to consume, with the physical structures that you have to build so that you can bring the dream in reality. Okay. So if you're feeling either stuck or like you're on the precipice of something big, sometimes you just need to ground in. And I'll give a personal example. So I went and got acupuncture this past week, and she put needles everywhere. Bless her. She's a Capricorn. I love her. And she just, okay, like sit here for 20 minutes. I'm like, okay. And the downloads that came in, especially with regards to Neptune, like spiritual downloads, it was almost like I was vibrating at a different frequency, truly, was very profound because, again, my body, that physical earth energy was being stimulated, being activated, right? So this can also be an invitation for you to come back to your body, whether it's walking, stretching, breath work, all these things to help channel the mind towards your dreams, which will strengthen intuition. And also just be cognizant of what you're consuming energy-wise, not just social media, but also conversations with people, podcasts, TV shows, movies, all of these things. These are all Neptune realities of fantasy and illusion. And these are just energies that are going to be at play, especially at the start of the week, leading up to the Capricorn New Moon. And as you can see on Monday, with the moon in Sagittarius, we're in that dark moon phase. And so remember, when we're in that dark moon phase, the days leading up to a new moon, it's also a beautiful time to slow down, to rest, to go inward, to purge, release, clean, move energy that's not in alignment. And also, this is the perfect time to do it because the moon is conjunct Venus, the moon is conjunct Mercury in Sagittarius. So one, of course, you can look to the Sagittarius rule part of your chart to see where there might be some blessings, some pleasure, maybe connecting with a caregiver in a really nice way, a parent or a feminine energy, or you just taking time to rest. It can be that easy. And we've talked about this before in these breakdowns, but I think sometimes it's forgotten how spiritual, intelligent, and philosophical Sagittarius energy is. It's always known for being like adventurous and gregarious and having all of this passion and wildfire energy. But Sag is also very, very spiritual. So this, again, can be where you're leaning into your spiritual practices more and getting a lot of pleasure, getting a lot of progress, getting a lot of peace from this energy. We also see that Mars here is making this really nice sextile to Saturn, while again being in very close aspect to Jupiter. So there does just seem like something where if you're putting in the time, if you're putting in the effort, if you're putting in the work, you're going to see the results. I think all of us know what that is in some way, shape, or form. A very obvious manifestation will be either work or career. And I will say, from all of the giveaway readings and even just client consults, pretty much everyone is looking to career or starting their own business. So if that's you and you've been thinking, I want to go out on my own, I want to build something for myself, I want to build a legacy, that is quite literally this energy of Mars sextile Saturn, Mars trine Jupiter. I'm not saying everyone has to go and start their own business if you do not feel like it, but it can also be, where do I want to grow? Where do I want to expand? So you might be looking for a promotion. You might be wanting to work for someone who's more aspirational or more powerful so that you can grow as well. So in that career, life purpose, legacy space, being fulfilled through your work, know that that's a very, very prominent theme that is being specifically activated this week. Now, Tuesday, we have the moon conjunct Mercury, also making that trine to, making a square to Neptune. So this is where downloads could be very, very clear, but then there's also an equal distraction or an equal opportunity to be distracted. So just be clear. I'm just saying right now, it's kind of like something I'm saying to myself, and you guys all can take it if it resonates. Like, distract yourself with your dreams. Literally bombard yourself with everything that you possibly can. I know it can be very trite or cliche with January 1st in terms of like vision boards, New Year's resolutions, whatever that is. However, whatever works for you, do that over and over and over again. Like, words is a big one for me. So I'm writing everything down. I'm putting sticky notes all over my house. I'm like, I want to see these words. I want to say these words with the higher frequency every single day. I'm looking at photos of different goals and expansion. I'm rewatching videos that make me feel a certain way. Same thing with songs. And with this energy of Mercury and the moon, of course, that's linked to words, and then Neptune of the dreams, of the fantasy. So it can quite literally be where you're doing those guided meditations, where you're making that vision board, where there are certain movies or TV shows that make you feel the feelings that you're wanting. This is very, very strong. And please, 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 this would be the one day where I wouldn't go on social media unless you absolutely feel intuitively called, because there are going to be a lot of things that can distract you and then take you down a rabbit hole that are not aligned. So take the time to lean into the frequency that's going to best benefit you. When we get to Wednesday, January 10th, we then have the moon in Capricorn conjunct Mars. Part of me feels like on Wednesday, you're going to have this either gut feeling, this draw or this drive being like, I know where to act, whether you're physically going to do it on Wednesday or leaning into the Capricorn new moon energy on Thursday. There's probably something that's going to excite you, motivate you, or you just want to move, or even if it's the download to be strategic, it's like, okay, I have a goal where I want to get this done by May or June. For that to happen, I need to start being proactive here. I need to start making the phone calls. I need to start putting in the action. I need to start letting go of this. I need to start selling that. It might be one of these long-term plans or downloads that coming in because, again, it's moon in Capricorn. It's more methodical. It's more foresight. It's more long-term planning. But guaranteed with this moon-Mars conjunction, and then again with the moon in aspect to Saturn with Jupiter, it's like what I'm seeing is someone's giving you the blueprint or they're giving you a map. And it's like, here's the treasure. Here's the good points to look for. Watch out for these things that might deter you and go. Like you have the map. So if you have the map, what do you now need for supplies? Who do you need to contact? What needs to be done? Like it might seem a touch overwhelming because you're like, oh, I finally got the clear vision, but now I have to get everything in order so I can embark on the journey. And that embarking on the journey or those first few steps may be taking place in and around this Capricorn new moon that's happening on Thursday, January 11th. So January 11th and the 13th for me, given that Mercury will ingress into Capricorn and be finishing up its post-retrograde shadows, this energy for me feels like a new year, a new cycle, a new beginning, truly. So I've also been seeing with clients or been getting messages and DMs from past clients, from friends, that a lot of people have been sick, bedridden, lethargic, just mulling over those interactions that they had over the holidays. So if that's you and you're watching this, I don't want you to feel like you were doing something wrong. It's your body purging before the next expansion. And of course, if you were being maybe not the best with your time or boundaries, then that's okay too. The body just needed time to recalibrate, to then come forth with this new cycle. Remember, the body can also be represented by the moon. So when the moon is entering that new moon phase, there's an invitation for all of us to connect back in with our bodies, with our emotions, and with our home to see where we can acquire that nurturing and support. We also see with this new moon that it's conjunct Pluto. This is the last new moon that we have in Pluto, I think until the year 2252. So in our soul's existence of this current timeline, this is the last new moon in Capricorn conjunct Pluto. That kind of gags me a little bit. Like I was like, whoa, like this is the last new moon in Capricorn, in the sign of Capricorn, conjunct Pluto. So for all of my angels who have dominant cardinal energy, that's Capricorn, Aries, Cancer, and Libra, in those later degrees, something is going to throw down. Something is going to happen that is going to be either very emotionally powerful. There's going to be either a truth. There's going to be something that becomes very clear, because Pluto can represent extremes. There's this power. There's this energy of death and rebirth. So again, for some of you, you might feel and know, and maybe that download came through on Wednesday. If we just circle back to this, Mars separates, right? And so if the moon can talk to our emotions, we might have to separate from something or someone that is no longer in alignment emotionally. And that's up to you on to what level you want to cut those cords or remove yourself from a situation. And like I said, it might be a more long-term thing. You're like, oh, this job is no longer serving me, or I no longer want to work for this person, or I don't want to be in a relationship with this person. But you might not end it immediately. It might be a truth that is being revealed, and then you're going through the steps to have this happen over the next 3 to 6 months, right? When we have these lunations like a new moon, it's calling us for the next energy of 6 months. And the moon is also making that trine to Uranus. So change, and given it's a trine, it's a change that is maybe going to feel like a lot, but it should be, if you've been doing the work leading up to this new moon, it should be a change that's going to help you feel better. It's like when you go to the dentist and there's a little bit of a toothache, maybe you have a little bit of apprehension about them doing a filling or doing the work on it, but then after that hour, you're like, oh, actually, that wasn't that bad, and now my tooth feels so much better. And I mean, very accurate description because Capricorn and Saturn rule over the bones. So maybe this is also a reminder to go to the dentist. But with that being said, this change, this shift in power is for your highest good. So please don't forgo the separation or stepping into your power out of fear. Like, this is truly the new moon that feels like a new cycle and a new rebirth for everyone, especially if you have those cardinal placements in later degrees. So let's say between 20 and 29 degrees, you will feel this immensely. Now, moving on to Friday, when the moon moves into Aquarius, she's still in that new moon phase. So just remember that these things are going to be not just happening 10th, 11th, but 12th, 13th. Like, it really basically is this entire week of downloads coming in and new cycles beginning. But when the moon is in Aquarius, this is really nice as well, because as we can see, there's no other planets in air signs. So this is the air representation that we have for this whole week. So this could be a time where you are sharing things, you are maybe having these important conversations with people that you love and people that you trust to get a greater perspective. With the moon in Aquarius, I would recommend talking to people of authority, of power, that are maybe smarter or well-versed than you. So you have this accountability or this love from people that you trust and respect and that you know have your best interests in mind. It's not that you can't talk to loved ones and anyone else, but with the moon in Aquarius, there's going to be a refinement. There's going to be a bit more even out of the box thinking that can often a different perspective than maybe you haven't identified before. You don't want someone who's just going to agree with you or someone that's going to project their fear. You want someone that's going to provide support and maybe in a new and innovative way that you've never had before. And we also see that the moon is making this sextile to Venus. So it does feel like some kind of connection that's going to help excite you, motivate you, and help you to see things in a way that you haven't thought before is happening. And then, of course, we have the moon making a square to Jupiter. So there could be a lot of things that are going on. Like I said, for some, it might feel overwhelming. It's like, whoa, there's a lot that's on my plate right now. So you need to know that you can lean on certain people for support. And it can also be multiple offers as well, multiple offers for expansion, multiple love interests, multiple jobs, multiple ideas. So if that's also happening as well, we talked about the grounding that is going to benefit you, especially as Mercury finishes off this square to Neptune. Now, Saturday, we also have the moon still in Aquarius, making now a sextile to Mercury, and Mercury is finishing off its transit in Sagittarius. It's going to move into Capricorn later on in the day on the 13th. So if I were you, and I'll be doing this too, looking at the Sagittarius ruled part of your chart and see what you have learned, see what happened over this Mercury retrograde. Mercury's been in Sagittarius since November. Like, it's been a very long time. It went into Capricorn and then retrograded back into Sagittarius. So how has your mind shifted? How have your dreams changed? What type of energy are you wanting to stay grounded and disciplined with your mindset, with your beliefs, with your core values? These are going to be things that are really important. And then you can also be using the moon as she's making a square to Uranus to shake things up. This is where that change is going to happen. And also maybe change that has been a core part of who you've been or a way that you've identified. So with that, it's like, okay, the ego is now dying. I can't keep thinking the same things and doing the same actions if I want a different result. So now, how has my thinking changed? How does it maybe still need to change or adjust for me to move forward with confidence? So I would sit with yourself, especially Friday and Saturday, to note what needs to change for me to feel more confident, to feel more comfortable, for me to acquire more power, and for me to go after my dreams with greater fervor. And if nothing has changed by the end of this week, I would recommend going back to the drawing board. There's likely something, even if it's not a physical change, but a mental change or a spiritual change that is going to be taking place this week. Like I would, like, I'm at a loss for words because there's going to be something that happens with all the astrology that's in play. If not one thing has changed from Monday at the start of the week until Saturday, and I will give grace to everyone that maybe you're thinking about the change. You're just maybe having a little bit of fear about how to launch that change or to move forward with that change. But something is going to happen, especially Saturday and Friday with the moon making those squares to Jupiter and Uranus. Because then when we get to Sunday, it might be like oh, this is a lot. I just need a breather. I just need to integrate this. You might be feeling like a little bit of a sleepy kitty. We do have the moon in Pisces conjunct Saturn. And then we also have Mercury entering Capricorn, which I think is going to be strong for everyone because Capricorn is a cardinal sign, a cardinal earth sign. Cardinal energy initiates things. It starts things. So if there was any kind of confusion on how to initiate that change, Sunday is going to make it more clear. Give yourself a chance to breathe, to rest, and allow also the downloads to come in when you're sleeping and to affirm these beliefs. So when you wake up, it becomes easier for you to lean into that, to believe it, to know it's coming true. And we'll talk about this more on the next breakdown. But with Mercury now making that trine to Jupiter, this gets to be an opportunity for business to grow, money to grow, opportunity to grow, your beliefs to grow. So what I'm saying is during this Capricorn new moon, you're planting the seeds. So then moving forward, and we don't even have to think long-term per se, like you're going to start seeing immediate results of things blooming, of things growing. If you're consistent, if you're doing the work, if you're staying accountable, this energy can happen very, very quick. All right. And as an extra reminder, look to the Capricorn ruled part of your chart because all of that Capricorn new moon energy, and then when Mercury moves in there, this is going to be a very, very, very activated part of your life. And if you are someone with dominant Capricorn energy, sun, rising, or moon, or just multiple planets in Capricorn, then this is going to be a huge, phenomenal, expansive week. All right. Now, for the astrology question of the week, we have from Allison Hall 9504. Hey, Allison. What can Capricorns expect? Bracket. I happen to have a stellium in Capricorn in the 7th house, end bracket. When Pluto finally moves out of our sign for good in 2024. So fun fact, Allison, and everyone watching, Pluto, yes, moves into Aquarius on January 21st, but when Pluto retrogrades later on in the year, it's going to retrograde back into Capricorn, and it's going to be in Capricorn between September 2nd and November 19th of 2024. And I know I see the same videos on social media of people being like, Pluto's finally moving out of Capricorn. It's finally time. Like 2024 is Capricorn's time. Pluto is gone. Gentle reminder that not everyone is a professional astrologer. And yes, it's a very short stint that Pluto will retrograde back into Capricorn between September 2nd and November 19th. Also, for those who purchase the astrology guide, there is a breakdown of all the ingresses in the back of every single planet when it moves into each sign and the retrogrades and things like that. So for those who have the guide, you may already knew that Pluto will be in Capricorn. What I will say, though, is that Pluto is the outermost planet. Yes, Pluto can affect by co-presence if you have a lot of Capricorn placements or if you're going to have lots of Aquarius placements. But generally speaking, many Hellenistic astrologers will use a 3-degree orb. So Pluto's at 29 degrees right now. So if all of your Capricorn placements are between 0 degrees and let's say 25 degrees, it might not have as strong of an effect. You might have been feeling that a lot earlier when Pluto was in those earlier signs of Capricorn between 2008 and now. As someone who has a later Capricorn ascendant and also has their moon in late degrees of a cardinal placement, Aries. I feel like Pluto has been trying to kill me like a couple times these past year, especially. It's like that clip of Jennifer Coolidge on White Lotus season 2. She's like, these gays are trying to kill me. I'm like, yeah, Pluto will kill you. But again, the notion of death and rebirth is directly linked with Pluto. And I will say, just from a professional standpoint, the lessons that I have learned with Pluto have literally helped me help my clients save thousands of dollars, huge amounts of time from stress and anxiety, or going different directions that having my experiences, I was able to calm their nerves immediately and give them options, to give them help and support in conjunction with what they were told or what they were diagnosed by other professionals or other healers in their life, which completely shifted the game and helped them to get results immediately, because I had to do that work with Pluto moving through that part of my life. So what I'm saying is, the question in terms of what can people expect when Pluto moves off of a major part of your chart is that you probably are not going to feel as intense in that part of your life. So in this example, it was someone who has a Capricorn stellium, a stellium being 3 or more planets in that sign in the 7th house. So if someone's been going through a Pluto transit in their 7th house where they have multiple planets, the 7th house is the house of other. It can speak to marriage, your partner, husband, wife, or long-term commitment or clients, right? So if you've been going through a lot of relationship energy or feeling like it's always a constant rebirth where you're always calling yourself higher and those around you higher, or maybe it was a breakup or a divorce that was really intense, really dramatic, there had to be legal battles involved, then when Pluto moves out of there, you can look back, and we can all look back to the Capricorn ruled part of our chart and see what has changed since 2008 to now, and give gratitude for those lessons and how much you've grown. As a personal example, in 2008 would have been around the time that I fully accepted that I was gay and had that as a part of my identity. And then moving through that and learning how to make that a part of my identity and how I identified with that topic. And now I can say I'm very proud of all the work that Pluto in my first house has taught me. And I wouldn't trade that experience. Yes, were there times where it was immensely difficult? Of course. Pluto is not going to play. But with it leaving, even with the brief guest spot return later on in the year, there's opportunities for you to reflect and see how much you've grown, the power you've accumulated, the wisdom that you've acquired from that transit. And just know that for anyone who has dominant Capricorn energy or dominant cardinal energy, that it's not going to feel as, I want to use the word testful, like you're always going through these intense trials. It'll likely just feel a little bit easier. I'll say that it won't feel like you're constantly having to start from scratch or learn such intense revelations around power and truth and what it means to have to consistently call forth more of that energy. But some people like that as well. Some people like the energy of going higher and reaching for more. So to recap, 1, Pluto will go back into Capricorn between September 2nd and November 19th of 2024. Secondly, look back at that Capricorn ruled part of your chart and see how far you've grown since 2008. And then lastly, identify what it is that you're wanting moving forward, because with all this Capricorn activation, Pluto has an opportunity to help you grow, to help you get that power that you're wanting as it wraps up its transit before it goes into Aquarius on January 21st. And of course, we will talk more about that in the weeks to come for all of my Aquarius dominant angels and for everyone that has a lot of fixed sign energy, especially between 0 and 5 degrees of fixed signs. So Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, and Scorpio. For those individuals, then 2024 will also be a time of great expansion. Okay. So that's all I got for this week. Gentle reminders. If you're wanting to invest into one-on-one coaching and mentorship to get an extra 30-day unlimited access to support, you can reach out via email. The 2024 astrology guide is now up and ready for purchase and immediate download. And then, of course, the one question readings are also now open and available. I'm wishing you all a phenomenal week, a glorious and expansive Capricorn new moon, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.